Happy Sunday, beautiful people. I hope you're having a great day and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Brunch with Desb. And if it's not your favorite, just pretend I am your Sunday favorite. All right. I hope you're having a great one. I am not. I've already had to restart this podcast 3 times because I was with Evie and she was just not having it. It was like right when I pushed record, it was like, never mind. I don't want to be an angel. So I've had to restart and then I lost my train of thought. And so here I am on my 3rd attempt. But as they say, usually they say 3rd time's a charm. So let's just say it is my charm today. And I guess that does ring true with my kids. The 3rd time was a charm in terms of my experience. So we will manifest a positive episode today. We have a little bit of an advice segment. We have a little bit of chatting, a little bit of catching up, a little bit of spillage of the tea, a lot of talks on a series, some new episodes, some new stuff I've been watching. My goal for August, I laugh, because my goal for August was to read a book. And guys, I just don't think reading a book is going to happen to me this year. Okay, so that's fine. And also notice how I didn't say this month. I'm talking this whole year. Like, I just don't think books are in my forecast. As much as I would love to be a book girly again, I think when I was in my book reading era, I was also going through a lot of trauma, especially with like my pregnancy with Archie. And I was trying so hard to like escape how I was feeling that I just dove into books, which was great. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved it. But now that I just have 3 kids, by the time I'm laying in bed, I don't want to like think about reading and like turning my brain on to like read a book, like read a page. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would rather read subtitles. And that's just the life that I'm living right now. So I have a lot of really good episodes. Why do I keep saying episodes? Series to talk to you guys about. This past week, though, you know, Wyatt was gone in Vegas. He came back and I had a lot of time to reflect on what I wanted to watch. And so I asked you guys, what should I be watching right now? And there was quite a few series, one of them being specifically Presumed Innocent. That's where I started. That's where my spiral came from, was watching that. And then I went to Defending Jacob. And then I went to Your Honor. And now I'm in between 2 series, one called Blackbird and the other one called Dark Matter. So I'm on my Apple TV shit right now. I got the 3-month free trial. It has been nothing but good vibes and all good. So I don't want to spoil it too much for you guys yet. Let's get into some housekeeping first. Number 1, we have a lot of launches coming up from a few brands, and I'm going to piss myself with what I have seen coming with some of these brands. Okay. I love clothes, specifically athletic wear, lounge wear, leisure wear, but I have been, since being postpartum and like not working out yet, which I'm so close. Guys, this coming week, I'm 6 weeks. Oh my God, wait for it. So with that being said, postpartum era, I've kind of been in and out of athletic wear. I've been wearing more like street clothes, daily wear, stuff like that, right? But I've found a lot of good athleisure pieces. And so I'm really excited to see some of the brands I partner with coming out with even more like athleisure pieces for the fall weather. I'm going to melt. So we have one more summer launch. Well, kind of like 2 summer launches coming to wrap up the summer. And then after that, I think we're going to get back into those like warmer neutral colors, which isn't usually my vibe. You guys know I'm a bright colored person, but I am excited for what is to come from these brands. Like, I am excited for the palette. I am excited for the plot. Okay. So, you know, as always, when in doubt, Desb a checkout. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Number 2, housekeeping. If you guys aren't on my channels yet, make sure you do that. I finally have the access on the feature of Instagram to have a channel, a broadcast channel. So it's just another place for me to have a one-sided conversation because no one can really reply to me. It's kind of like this podcast, but I absolutely love it. I've been doing like giveaways on there, dropping like memes, little thoughts that I have, thought bits throughout the day. It's just another place that we can connect. So make sure that you add my channel to your list. Cause then when you go to your messages tab, it shows like your channels and you can like pop in and see, you know, what's new, see if I dropped a foot pic, you know, something like that. So that's number 2. Number 3, we still have the BFit membership for the month with Strong Ass Mom included. So if you're someone pregnant, postpartum, or even just looking for maybe a lower impact workout. Maybe you're in a season of life where you got to get something done quick. You're recovering from an injury, like anything like that. You can still use Strong Ass Mom, and you really can at any time. But if you sign up for our membership right now, you not only get access to our 5 days a week workout routine that we have right now, but we also have Strong Ass Mom for the month of August. So you have access to the 10-week program up until the 31st. Now, it's only a month that you have access to it, 4 weeks, right, of August, but it's a 10-week program. So the goal is use it for what you need it right now. And if you end up loving it, we will have a big sale on it at the end of the month for all members. And you'll have access to that. If this is something you guys really liked, having access to a program for a month, having a little bit of fun with it, let me know. I'm always down for the feedback. I'm really looking to, as I've mentioned, you guys revamp the membership. So any feedback helps. On that note, piggybacking, last little bit of catch up, we have our 6 weeks of strength challenge coming up. And this probably will be our last 6 weeks to strength. And what I mean by that is that I'm really looking to renovate it for the upcoming year, 2025. This year marks 5 years of our 6W2S challenges. Okay. And the goal was, when I created them, is to have 6W2S be the staple, right? So slay, strength, shreds, and it's time to grow up, right? It's time to mature. And I want to just come at it strong with like a different, maybe it's just one word, maybe it's just, but I just feel like the 6W2S was very pre-kids of me, and that's fine. Like even then I still always loved it, but I want it to be fresh. I want it to be new. Like I said, we've been doing it for 5 years. So like, let's have a new face to it. Still going to do 6 week challenges. It just might have a different name, So with that, last 6 weeks of strength challenge, let's call it that, is going to be opening on the 1st of September. I'm going to let you in on a secret. If you join pre-registration, that's probably going to drop like the 23rd of August. If you are pre-registered, you get access on the 31st, and we are doing a discount for the challenge. If you join pre-registered, that first 24 hours pre-registration, the 31st of August only, if you join on that day, you get the challenge for $99 instead of $117. And if you join coached, if you want to be coached during it, it's going to be $289 instead of $307. Okay, so we're doing a pretty big discount for those pre-registered. Now, if you are a member, you get those prices for 2 days. You get access on the 30th and the 31st. That discount will be yours on the 30th and the 31st. If you're not a member, you're just pre-registered, you only get access to the 24 hours. After that 24 hours, that pricing is not yours anymore. That's really it. You will get a 4-core program. It's 4 core routines you can utilize throughout as well, also yours to keep. And we're doing pregnancy, postpartum options, as well as home and gym. We always do that. But what I mean is when you open up the workout to do it, it will auto-populate what version of the workout do you want to do. The home and gym version, aka let's call it normal. Maybe you're not pregnant, you're not postpartum, or you don't need to follow those parameters. Or pregnancy, postpartum, if you are either number 1, pregnant, or number 2, newly postpartum, where you need to like have that extra guidance. Okay. Every workout's always made for at home or at gym. So I just didn't know what else to call it. Pregnancy, postpartum, or normal, like what do I call it? So I just called it home gym, or home/gym, or pregnancy/postpartum. So I'm really excited. It's going to be my first challenge back with you guys. Obviously, since being pregnant and being now postpartum, I'm really looking forward to working out, number 1. Number 2, doing it with you guys. Number 3, having a brand new community, a lot of new faces, and also being able to like sweat and actually start to expend calories and show you guys how I'll be, exclusively nursing, and also balancing a body transformation. Like I'm super excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm pumped. I'm motivated. And, having my last baby, and I know I've said that before, but having my last baby, this rehabilitation that I'm going through, this comeback, this come up, this is going to be my for life. Do you know what I mean? So how I rehabilitate my body right now is very important of how I look to sustain the rest of my life. Like I want to start to create and continue to create those habits starting now that I'm going to keep for the rest of my life, knowing I won't go through that big of a body transformation again. My core splitting apart, my organs shifting around, so I'm ready to rehabilitate correctly and do it the right way is what I'm saying. So very excited. I can't wait to have you guys there. Next thing, last housekeeping, I promise, is that my headphones worked. My headphones started to work again. So I don't know what Wyatt and I did last week where my headphones weren't working, to where his weren't either, but I turned on my stuff today, and mind you, we turned it off last week, turned it on, turned it off, tried to fix it. I don't know what happened, but I turned it on this week and it all worked. And I was like, what the fuck? So we had to have pushed a button or something. Like there had to have been something going wrong, but we got it fixed and that's all that matters. So anyways, let's get into a few things that I need to get off my chest. And the first thing that I have to share is how embarrassed I am that I did not hop on the Chappell Roan bandwagon prior to her going and being a star. And what I mean by that is if you have not heard of Chappell Roan yet, you got to be living under a rock, number one. And number two, if you have heard of her, I feel like you're either really loving her or you might just not like her at all. And that's okay. She's a very unique personality in the music space right now. Very pop, but like very Gaga. Like people are kind of calling her the Lady Gaga of like the 2020s. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she is really like reinvigorated this true authenticity of herself. She is a performer. She's an artist. Like her makeup, her hair, everything is very LGBTQ coded in the most beautiful way. She stands so proud in being a part of that community. And she also, though, embraces everyone who's hetero too. She takes me under her wing as well. And, but she just is such a standing force, for those in that community. And it's been really cool to see. So a lot of her makeup, a lot of her wardrobe, she's even said, is very inspired by drag. And again, just different members of the LGBTQ community and staying so true to herself, which is cool. So she just headlined at Lollapalooza, brought in like an 80,000 person crowd. And just back in November of last year, she was performing in front of people of like 200. So she has blown up. My point is, back in March, when I went to Olivia Rodrigo, which was also the worst day of my life because I felt so out of place, Chappell Roan opened for her. And I remember with my friend Vanessa, we looked at each other like, dude, this bitch is good. Her vocals, her the way she got the crowd going, her songs, the music, like she was bringing in energy. Like I remember Vanessa and I both saying like, dude, she's a performer. And I would even argue she put on a better show than Olivia Rodrigo. So she was popping off then. When I looked at her on Spotify, when I was in the crowd, I was like, who is this girl? She maybe had a couple 100,000 like Spotify listeners per month. I just looked back yesterday, after, I've been listening to her music now for probably like 2 months. And I went back to look at her number yesterday and she's at 37 million something. So she is just blown up, which is also such a crazy feeling it has to be as an artist, going from this kind of like not really known to singing the same songs that you've been singing for years, but that no one's ever just really picked up on, And so she's crushing it, killing it. I am so pissed that I did not promote her more back in March. Like I could have been one of those really first building block fans, and I just like shit the bed with that. And I'm so mad at myself because I was so godly embarrassed from the Olivia Rodrigo concert. I didn't even want to affiliate myself with someone younger again. I was like, I just can't go there. It's embarrassing. I can't do that. Even now, I could have been at Lollapalooza and like vibed out to her music and probably been fine. But to go to a Chappell Roan only concert, I think it would be social suicide for me again. You know what I mean? Like I can't put myself in those situations. I just can't. I feel way too old. I feel way too old and out of place. And it doesn't mean everyone does. If you're out there right now and you're like, oh, I would totally go and crush it, you go right ahead. After my experience with Olivia Rodrigo, girl, I was like, you will never catch me at a younger person's concert ever again. Like I can't. It feels like prom. It feels like high school. It feels like Winterfest. It feels like homecoming. It's not for me to be a part of. It's not for me to be a part of. And one day that day will come for me also realizing that I shouldn't wear crop tops anymore. Like that day will come and that day will hurt. But until then, I'm going to still wear them, but there is a certain age where I feel like naturally someone in different ages for everyone, you might just experience something that goes, you know what? I might have outgrown that, at least publicly, and that's okay. So that's kind of where I'm at with Chaperone. You guys have to go listen to her music. I mean, she has so many good songs, but like one of my favorite right now is probably Pink Pony Club. I just love her vocals. I love singing it. Like, I love singing, period. And I promise I'm like really not that bad when I try. Like, I've always wanted to be a pop star. So to lip sing, nonetheless to sing and try to harmonize with her, like, it's something I do in my spare time. It's my secret guilty pleasure to pretend like I'm still a pop star at 29 with 3 kids. But I love singing it. It's such an emotional song. I love the lyrics in it. It's cool. So anyways, let me know if you guys are on it and if you're listening recently. 3, let's call it 4, let's call it 5 potentially series and things that you guys need to be watching right now. Okay, we're going to dive right the fuck in. Number 1, Presumed Innocent. Like I mentioned, Jake Gyllenhaal, whoever the fuck we're talking about, he's in it, killed it. Okay, he's had my heart as an actor ever since Southpaw. That movie left a print on me I cannot explain. It was a fantastic show. They are assumed to resume season 2. It will supposedly be a new plot though. So I'm still down with it. Whatever. I'm good. But let me tell you, season 1 was Chef's Kiss. It's kind of reminding me of maybe what they want to do is kind of like a White Lotus, where there's like same overarching premise of the show, but like different cast, different. It's the same show with being a different show each season. That's what they're going to do with that. So Presumed Innocent, I really don't want to ruin it for anyone, so I'm not even going to chat about it. But you need to fucking watch it. It's been the best thing I've watched in years, okay? Number 2, Defending Jacob. Now, this one I want to chat about for a second. So after I tell you about what it's about, I want you to fast forward if you're going to watch it. It is on Apple TV. Defending Jacob. Long story short, and you can watch this in the trailer, local district attorney's son gets accused of murder. Okay, that's pretty much how it just lays out. He was a policeman, did work with the police, or maybe not was a policeman, but you get it. Worked with the police, and now his son supposedly is a killer, right? The series just takes twists and turns. It's awesome. I can't say where you end up is how you think. It's not as jaw-dropping as Presumed Innocent. Like, I just think the way they wrote that was so good, but it is top tier. Like, it was still a great show. I was like, I'm really glad I watched that one too. So now, feel free to fast forward. I'm going to be spoiling / talking about Defending Jacob for a second. In 3, actually, you know what? I'm just going to take a sip of my energy drink while you guys are thinking about it. Dude, Hawaiian Shaved Ice has entered the fucking chat. Fuck. Remember that one time someone told me my kid was going to be autistic because I drank an energy drink when I was pregnant? Yeah, me too. I remember that. Okay, so Defending Jacob. First thing, and I guess really not even the first thing, the one thing I want to hear from you guys who have also watched it. Did Jacob fucking do it? Did Jacob fucking do... Literally at the end of the episode, the last episode, episode 8, bro, I was in the same boat as his fucking mom. Okay, I'm like, I'm gonna drive this fucking car off the road if you don't just fucking tell me. Listen, just tell me, you know? So then the wife, the mom, ends up running him off the road, right into the fucking bridge. That was crazy. That was so fucked up. Like, it was kind of reminding me of like almost like a postpartum depression where like you just become manic. So like almost like a postpartum psychosis, but this shit hit her like 15 years later. You know, like that's what it looked like to me. It was scary as fuck. So then the other thing I thought of was, okay, so they get in this accident. Jacob's in a coma. The mom isn't, which is fucking annoying. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck you, bitch. You drove your fucking son into a bridge and now he has to pay for it. You know, whatever. So then she's looking at the husband. The husband just got done, you know, hoping that she's innocent for basically like trying to kill her kid or whatever. And then she looks at her husband. Mind you, he found the baby book in the trash. Like, he knew his wife wasn't mentally well, right? And he even brought up to her before, like, the way you look at him, like you think he's a monster. Like, he said that. So then she looks at her husband and goes, oh my gosh, like, I just don't want him to think, what if he wakes up and thinks that I did it? And that the husband immediately is like, he's not. do you think she's lying to herself too? Like, did she fuck her head up where she forgot that she did run them into the road? Or do you think she's guilty inside? And so she's worried that when Jacob wakes up, he will tell everyone, dude, my mom drove me off the road. It just left me with like a lot of questions in that way. And for some episodes, some series, that's the point, right? Like they want to keep you wondering. They want to keep you talking about it like this. But I have to hear your guys' feedback if you watch the show. Number one, did Jacob fucking do it? Because let me tell you, those fucking Job stories or whatever the fuck, what was that? What was that? When Derek read that shit off in court, what was that? My jaw was dropped. I was literally almost, if I was a juror, holy fuck. Let me tell you, that bomb Derek dropped ruined the case. Like if Pat's quote unquote went to have quote unquote killed himself, which we all know he didn't, he would have gone to prison. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that is evidence. Do you know what I mean? That is fucking crazy. So anyways, did he fucking do it? Did Derek do it? My other thought that entered my head, I was like, what if Sarah did it? What if fucking Sarah did it? Also, the fact that Jacob was into cutter porn, yo, if that's real shit out there still today, I am worried. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me. I'm sure some people have weird obsessions with that. I mean, look at us. Some of us are kind of obsessed with true crime. Is that kind of fucked up? Yeah. You know, I know some people out there who are like, you know, this sounds fucked up, but I wish I could find a body. It doesn't mean they're a killer, but you're like, you can become so like obsessed with like dark stuff just out of almost curiosity. And it's weird, right? It's weird. Like look inward, guys. If you like hearing about true crime and how someone got strangled while you're washing the dishes in silence, it's weird. Okay, let's just be for real with ourselves. But it doesn't mean we're fucking killers, you know? So I get it. I get, you know, the cutter porn maybe out of interest, but it seems like he might have been a jerker to the cutter porn. And that's weird. Okay. So anyways, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on defending Jacob specifically. Because that was nuts. I would want to hear your thoughts on presumed innocent, but let's maybe talk about that next week. So I challenge you this week. I want you to go watch presumed innocent and then get back and then come back next week. Okay, that's my challenge to you. Defending Jacob. Now, the next one I want to talk about real quick is Your Honor. This is on Netflix. I haven't finished it. I'm on episode 7, I think, of season 1. So far, it's fucked up. All of these shows I've watched have one underlying thing that is kind of the tone of the show. And it's the fact of corruption exists in the judiciary system. Am I fucking saying that right? The judicial system? Whatever. Let me just say judicial system. I think that might be right instead of judiciary. What am I saying? So corruption exists, right? And like we all know that, but to like think about it is kind of scary. But that's why sometimes innocent people go to jail and guilty people get let off. Corruption can exist and people make mistakes in terms of like presenting evidence, and some lawyers are just that good, you know, XYZ. So anyways, underlying tone is that. And so it kind of freaked me out. So after seeing Your Honor and seeing like this judge hide his son doing this crazy thing, you know, it goes to show how you know, will you do anything for your kid? The answer is usually yeah. I tried to take a step back and I'm like, holy shit, if one of my kids came to me and was like, I did this terrible thing, even it was like, what would I do? You know, could you imagine never seeing your 14-year-old son again? Never seeing your 16-year-old son again? Not behind bars? You know, like I get it. Like I couldn't imagine that emotion that comes with that. It's crazy. It's something I never want to think about. It's almost one of those intrusive thoughts, right? But Your Honor has been pretty good. I would advise to watch it if you have Netflix and not Apple TV, because it's the same premise, like kind of show that you could still get the thrill out of without having like 9 different streaming services. So that is one. The last thing I will leave you with is called Dirty Pop. Dirty Pop, like Dirty Pop, you know, NSYNC, Backstreet, all the vibes. This guy, Lou, I already forgot his last name. Lou blank, forgot. He basically created this Ponzi scheme to just crank out boy bands in the 90s. That's the kind of MLM I would want to be a part of. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't sound too bad, but then you start listening and it does get pretty fucking bad. So that is a really good docuseries. I only watched one episode because I ended up falling asleep, but I do recommend it. Like, if you're looking for something on Netflix, again, highly recommend thus far. I've also just simply heard a lot of really good things about it and how eye-opening it was. So I reckon. I think that's kind of it for the beginning of this episode. I knew I wanted to touch on Chappell Roan. I haven't watched the Olympics at all ever since Simone, ever since the Golden Girls, I think is what they called themselves, were done. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of done watching too. So sorry to the rest of Team USA. I appreciate the work that you put in to be there, but once gymnastics is done, and even rugby this year, women's rugby was done, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I am done as well. So, yep, that's about it. I hope you guys are having a great day. You know what I mean? We're going to go ahead and take a second to hear from our partner, BetterHelp, one of my favorite therapy services outside of just simply having a podcast. And then we're going to get into a little bit of an advice section, and cheers. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. I talk about BetterHelp a lot, seeing as that it's benefited me in the past 2 years. Some people think, maybe, things have to get really bad until you can go to therapy. You're like, I'm not depressed. Why do I need therapy? But really, therapy is a tool to where you're using it before things were to get worse and to avoid being at your lowest low. I don't know about you, but why the fuck would you want to get to your lowest low before you climb out to the top again, right? BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video and even live chat sessions with your therapist. You don't have to see anyone on your camera. You don't have to wear pants. You don't even have to put on pajamas. You could be naked wherever you're at and do a therapy session with your therapist. So for me personally, I like to put my AirPods in. I'll walk around my desk room. I'll go for a walk outside when it's nice out, whatever it may be. And that's what works for me. It is customizable and it is more affordable than most in-person therapy. Give it a try. See why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp Online Therapy. And girls, don't forget to get on BetterHelp.com/Desb and put in that discount code. If you forget that, you do not get that 10% off your first month. And that is the deal with being a listener of Brunch with Desb. All right, advice with Desb. What would Desb do? WWDD. WWDD. Right? What would Desb do? Yeah, we need to make bracelets. WWDD. You know what I'm saying? All right, I want to get right the fuck into it because, listen, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and that's just this nature of my episodes right now. I wish I could sit down and yappity yap, 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 but I have a daughter who cries, and that's how the cookie crumbles right now. So right into it. Been with my boyfriend of 3 years and just bought a house in Tennessee. Super happy things are going well. Plan on getting married and should be engaged by the end of the year. Both want kids, can't wait to start a family. But since like the winter, I have zero desire to have sex. Literally, I feel like I could go the rest of the foreseeable future not having sex. Haha. I would attest that mainly to my job and the high stress of it. Got labs done. My hormones are 50 shades of fucked. So at least I'm not delusional and I knew something was off. Anyways, is it normal to go through phases of dry spells? It makes me question my entire relationship and I have zero reason to it. He's been so understanding. We're still close, minus having sex, still cuddle, kiss, all that bullshit. I legit feel like something's wrong with me. Send help. I'm 28 and don't want to feel like this forever. Sincerely, a queen who fucked a lot and now is fuckless. Wait, that's such an iconic sign off. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring up about this is, number one, you are so normal. Okay? And I want to bring up something that doesn't have to do with me, but when I watched Vanderpump Rules, it came out very publicly, like on the show, that Ariana and Tom at the time were not having sex, right? Like they hadn't had sex. And even at the end when they like cheated on each other, it was like they had only had sex like 2 times in a year. Same with like Brittany and Jax, supposedly. Now I think Jax is cheating on her, but doesn't matter. My point is, I don't think we talk a ton about sex lives because it can be super taboo, and someone's sex life is not your sex life, right? Like someone could have sex 4 times a week and that for them is good. Some people could have sex 4 times a month and for them that is good. So sex is very relative to a couple, right? But the point of me bringing that in is to realize that you could look at other people and be like, man, I bet you they're fucking all the time. And it's like, in reality, you never know. So try not to go inward and think, is something wrong with me? When at the end of the day, I think a lot of women feel this way, but we're not going to openly like say it out loud. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of different hormones that go on within us besides, we have a lot of different hormonal stuff that happens to us that like most men don't have to encounter, right? So we carry a lot on our shoulders is what I'm saying. I have definitely gone through phases of dry spells. And I was in the same ballpark as you of just like, I could go like for a moment, even I was like, am I like asexual? Like for fucking real. Like, I'm like, why don't I even want to do this? You know? And this was before kids too. Like this was like, I was just maybe like, coming off birth control. So there may be a few things at hand, don't get me wrong. But like, I remember thinking the same thing of just like, why don't I want to have sex? Like I'm so attracted in this case, like to my husband, to my partner, I'm so attracted to them, but why don't I want that? Like let me just tell you, I'm speechless at it because you wonder like, what the fuck is wrong with me? It's so embarrassing. You feel like you're broken. You see all these people. And again, we assume, oh my God, I bet you they're just having sex all the time, or they act super sexual. So I bet you they're like so sexual. And in reality, you never know. They could like not be doing it like that much either, And so I think that a lot of it is, number one, hormonal panel for sure. But I think there's gonna be, in my opinion, there's just gonna be ebbs and flows in relationships, just like there's like ebbs and flows in life. You mentioned a high stress job. If anyone is in a high stress situation, do you think we just like lay down at night and want to like get fucked? Like most times, no. It's like I'm battling a lot internally. Nonetheless, hormonally, it's just not in my cards right now. So you're not weird. I wish I could give you an answer because like I wish I found something that worked for me. But for me, it did kind of just like work itself out, right? And I think we have to also be very conscious about like our bodies. And as we age naturally, like our hormones shift, our hormones change. We are hypersexual as teenagers and also like young 20s when these hormones are just surging through us. And our body is almost telling us to reproduce, right? Like physiologically, our body is like, hey, go get fucked so you can have babies. Like that's what I hate using this term. That's what women were made for, right? Like we are made to breed. Like our body knows what to do. It knows the pheromones to give off. Like we are creatures, And so when you think of those hormones surging as we get older, they're just not the same / there's a lot of other shit that goes on, a lot of stuff that we like eat and drink now, that affect things. And I don't go in, super holistically into that shit, but a lot of things could cause just like general changes in sexual desire, right? So I think the more that you can just stay open about it in communication, be understanding of each other's feelings during that time. And sometimes for me, it really just took like kissing, making out, imagining like having sex to all of a sudden it's like, ooh, I'm kind of turned on. Let's go for it. And then once I got done, like you get done having sex, you're like, wow, I'm glad I did that. So sometimes it's like, I don't want to call it the annoyance, but it's the annoyance of like, okay, I got to get myself ready for this. When like men are just wired to be like, they have a fucking boner and they could go at any point. So sometimes you just got to do it too. Does that make sense? Like honor your own space, consent to it for God fucking sake. I'm not saying that, but like sometimes if you just kind of try to like get into it, before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm into this, but just keep communicating. I'm so sorry. I wish I could have an answer, but like in reality, I feel like we've all gone through it. And if you are a woman, you're listening right now and you have gone through a dry spell, please, I wish I could say comment below if you feel comfortable. I know it's can be like embarrassing to maybe admit to it, but comment below. Like, make us all feel normal. Have you? I fucking have, bitch. I don't care. I've gone through a period where I'm like, don't even look at me. It is what it is, you know? But you know what? You go through, you get through it, and then you're fucking again. I need some advice from my brunch babes desperately. So I have this best friend, Kay, since I was in first grade. I'm 29 now. We've done everything together from grade school, living 0.4 miles apart, growing up, high school, etc. We did it all. I lived in a different city and she went to college and we still stayed close. She moved back home and we saw each other so much. She was my maid of honor. We went on vacation before I went on my honeymoon, everything. The whole time she's always been more of a partier version and I was the workout one. And we're nearing 30 and that hasn't changed. I'm also 16 months postpartum and I can count on my hand how many times she's seen my son. I'm just at a loss because I know our friendship has drifted, and to this day I haven't seen her in 4 months and she lives 5 minutes away. I tried making plans, but she's always out at the bars, drinking on the weekends, brunch with her other friends. I want to call her out on it, but I don't know A, how, B, is it worth it? It feels like she just doesn't care that we haven't seen each other. Just at a loss and never thought I would lose her as a friend. Any advice is appreciated. Smooches to baby swirly. Sincerely, a sad, thrown away friend feeling. Yeah, that's heavy. You know, and it's heavy, especially when you're like postpartum, you're going through it, you're trying to figure it out. You already feel like a new person anyway, and then you lose this part of your past that doesn't make it to your future, and that can feel very conflicting. So, number one, would I call her out on it? I don't think I would call her out on it like in a negative way. I would just maybe bring to her attention like, hey blank, I really miss you. Would love to get together and chat and just hang out. Would you want to come over? Vibe her out first. Don't just attack. No one does good with an attack. No one does good with an attack. So ask her that. When she comes over, treat it normally if she does. If she doesn't come over, that's where you can maybe be like, okay, well, do you have time to chat on the phone? Would love to catch up. And then that's maybe where you can bring up like, hey, dude, I miss you. Like, I miss you. You know, have you been busy? Tell me a little bit about what's going on. Don't ambush on the first communication. Try to initiate again. And then after that, see if she initiates back. If not, I feel like that's when you make your move of like, hey, dude, we've been best friends for forever. I'm just feeling really hurt at the fact that, you know, you haven't been around. Is there something, also always take blame, right? Always kind of shit sandwich it. Is there something I could do? Is there something I haven't done? Because I would really love you to continue to be in my life, you know, go from there. And again, I think that's like a second time thing. Don't do that on the first talk. Don't do that on the first call. And then when she's over, just try to keep it as normal as possible. See if it opens up an avenue to like another chat. So that's how I would do that in that way. And then B, what I say, is it worth it? I think if you think your guys' friendship is worth it, yes, it is. If it's something that could just be a new season and this person is just not a part of your life anymore, that is very hard to sometimes wrap your head around, but it doesn't always have to be so negative. You know, it's so hard to say goodbye to those long-term friendships. It's hard to say goodbye to any friendship, but number one, sometimes you guys come back together differently, different times. And sometimes you're just meant to like play a role in each other's lives. And once that role is fulfilled, to go your separate ways because you grew apart or you're not in the same point of life anymore, that's okay. Things become really, really different when you become a mom. And it's really hard when you have people who like don't understand that. And as much as they can try, you don't know till you know. It's not offensive. It's not you don't fucking get it. It's just, you don't know till you know. And that's okay. But you know, when it comes to like mourning those friendships and you know, it could always so come back together maybe when she becomes a mom and she realizes what you've been going through or whatever. You know, I've recently reconnected with an old friend and it's not that we ever had a fallout or like something negative. It's just our lives were different and now we connected again. And it's not like oh my God, BFF, let's FaceTime, let's chat, let's book a flight, let's blah, blah, blah. But it's a different capacity, but like we're communicating again. It's fucking awesome. Like sometimes it just takes time that you both need without even really communicating it. And then you just like reconvene. And there doesn't always have to be these hard feelings of like, well, she better apologize to me or like whatever. It's like sometimes it doesn't need to be said. When they say some things are better left unsaid, sometimes it's like situations like this. If she ends up coming back in your life in a few years, right? And say she has a kid. I'm just throwing out some hypotheticals. And she's like, hey, would you like to grab coffee? Sometimes you just have to take the higher road and be like, yeah, sounds great. And then connect, right? Because a lot of times people will also maybe feel a little bit of ashamed of how they treated you. And you don't always have to throw it back in people's face. It's just like, hey, it is what it is. Yeah, let's meet up for coffee. Let's chat. Let's just hang out. And that's how I would approach it. So I encourage you to, continue to focus on you, focus on your family. They come first. Family is forever. Friends are not. Period. And that doesn't mean you disrespect your friends. It doesn't mean that friends don't mean shit or you don't need them or whatever. But like, focus on what you need right now, being 16 months postpartum, and the rest, what I'm saying is the rest will fall into place. You know what I'm saying? But focus on that personal energy and what you need first. I've also realized when I answer these, I talk a lot. I feel like we really actually only get a few of these in because I'll talk about all of them like so in depth. So I apologize for that. I just want to make sure you guys are getting like the most crisp advice, Dear Desb, I'm on the struggle bus to Struggle Town right now. Before COVID, I lost 50 pounds after having my son. He's now 8, so I have no excuse to claim baby weight. My husband works out religiously 6 days a week, and after working for a moving company in the Florida sun all day, damn, he never, ever makes me feel bad about myself, but he looks like a Greek god, and I'm over here like the female villain from Hercules when I want to look like Meg. Fucking stop. I have no excuses since I have a garage gym and a membership to the actual gym. But get this, I love working out. Eating healthy feels impossible. I work at a night shift as a 911 dispatcher, so I sit up all night and I'm tempted by snacking. I listened to podcasts from you all day today while cleaning and then got my ass up and went in the gym. I'm thinking about signing up for your fitness program. I hope you read this because I love listening to your podcast. I'm not a podcast listener and yours is the only one I listen to. Thanks for what you do. If you have any advice on healthy eating, I'm all ears. Sincerely, a tired, overworked mama, but trying to feel beautiful again. Okay, this is so funny because this could just be coincidence, but I did have an inquiry on my one-on-one coaching from a 911 dispatcher. So if this was you, hello, I hope we get to talk. I hope you booked a call and we get to chat. If not, crazy that I have another person, 911 dispatcher. I just feel like that's a pretty impressionable job. When I see that on an application, I'm like, oh wow, that's their line of work. That's awesome. So if it's you, hi. Okay, first off, so cute about your husband. That was a really funny analogy. I'm going to be honest. I hate that you talk about yourself like that, but here's the thing. I understand when people are like, dude, I just feel fugly. It's like, you are allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to feel like whatever you said, the villain in the show. It's fine. I think positive self-talk is important, right? You need to honor your body and what it's done for you. But to be like, hey, I'm not where I'm at right now, doesn't always have to be viewed as so negative or not body positive. It's like, I'm not body positive, bitch. I'm being body aware. You know what I'm saying? And I'm aware that I do not feel fucking good right now. And you deserve to feel good right now. If you're, we're working out, we're liking that stuff, we're feeling good. A lot of the nutrition aspect comes from accountability and doing it, which again, I think that's why I do coaching and why I love coaching is teaching the accountability of it and keeping people accountable. But also it's kind of like therapy, right? You go to therapy to learn more about yourself in that way and to get trauma off your chest, etc. You go to a nutrition coach to learn what needs to be in your life for you. Not what Sarah's doing, not what Billy's doing, okay? It's about what do you need to do? Okay. And I think that's where coaching can help you find that sustainability in your now that can take you into the future. And that's what I do and what I do well. Most of my clients come out of my coaching not tracking macros anymore, never tracking macros in the first place, only doing food logs, hitting a protein goal, being aware of calories, stuff like that. My goal is to create something for you that you can take in the rest of your life and not have to like say no to your kids or say no to your family going out to eat or doing something, right? I think the accountability and the structure of nutrition coaching and learning how to manage the impossible is what's important here. And that's something I take a lot of pride in doing and helping my clients do, because what's impossible for you might be what you think is the only way. And most likely it's not, okay? Does there have to be sacrifice in certain goals, in certain stages? Sure, absolutely. It's hard for a reason, because not everyone wants to do it, right? There's a reason because of it. But is it something that is more manageable than you probably think? Absolutely. But when we're trying to replicate what everyone else is doing and not thinking of what do I need to be doing for my situation, that's where it can become different. So I think if you want to inquire with one-on-one coaching, like, let's talk more. That's the basis behind what I do, is I want to talk to you guys. Like, let's talk, let's chat. And that's what I've been doing. Like, that's how I started coaching. I'd get on phone calls every single fucking day and talk to every person that I wanted to work with. And that's what I do now, right? And so being able to talk to you guys, being able to chat, having those honest and raw conversations about your goals, that's why we do what we do. And that's why my team does what my team does. So if you're interested, let me know. And like I said, if you've already applied, then like, I can't wait to talk more. Because I think at the end of the day, I could give you a very broad statement right now, but with our coaching, it is so personalized that like we have to intensely talk about it one-on-one. It's not something I can just like give you an overarching like idea about, right? Like, I want to hear from you. So if you're out there debating too, like you're just in the same position, you're listening to this, you're like, fuck, I'm in the same place. Number one, apply for one-on-one coaching. Let's chat more about it. Or number two, start with my challenge. Just get coached during the challenge. Is it something that benefits you? Is it something that you see that could help you? Do you see the value in it? Do you maybe just need that little bit of a push? I don't know. That's somewhere that you can go and we can explore. Okay, last one. And again, I'm sorry I just yap so much. Our advice sections are only really like 3 or 4 of them because I just talk about it, but they're still fun to hear about. First-time mom, currently 7 months pregnant, looking for postpartum advice on parent and baby schedule so that me and my partner still have our own time to work out, personal time, breaks, etc. Sincerely worried to lose my autonomy. So the reality of it is, number one, you will lose your autonomy. All right? Babies don't do schedules well, all right? They're babies for a reason. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. So don't be mad if a day doesn't work out as planned, all right? That's what I'm saying. Maybe not every day, but if there is a few days a week where things just don't go as planned, or you're 30 minutes behind what you thought you'd be able to do, it is what it is, all right? But when you're thinking of a schedule, what I personally believe in and how I think that is easy to operate from the beginning is your spouse, your partner, if they want to go work out and they want to get their workout in, they need to go early in the morning. Sorry, you don't have a fucking choice. You don't have to wake up in the middle of the night. You don't have to be the one tending to the baby. Then you can go work out in the morning. I think that is the easiest way to set up a schedule, or at least start to. The only other option is then, okay, cool. Well, then you go late at night. Because when you get off work, or when I have the chance to get a break midday, or the baby's down for a nap, I'm going. So in my opinion, I think a lot of it kind of formulates around your schedule, because if you finally have the baby down and your partner is just like sitting there, guess what? Sorry to spring it upon you, but I'm going to fucking take care of myself. And that is the weird part about that newborn and like / just even first baby stage. There's not a true schedule. So if something just happens to kind of work out one day, you got to just fucking do it. You know what I mean? And sometimes it could be at 1 in the afternoon. Sometimes it could be at 8 p.m. and you just got to roll with it. So I think the more that you can communicate that and try, and then once you do establish a schedule, like for example, I'll probably by the time Evie's like 12 weeks old or something, I like to try to do 2 naps a day. That's how I did with like Maddox. a 10 to 12 and then like a 2 to 4. And then, baby goes back down by like, 8 p.m., 7:30. And that always is what works out for me. Now, I don't stick to the plan like rigidly. And honestly, will it even end up looking like that? I don't know. But I do remember it was just something that did work really well. With that being said, I don't try to push a schedule on my baby too early though either. At the end of the day, they're just like, they just got here. Even they're like, what the fuck is going on? So the more that, you can kind of wing it in the beginning, and then once you do establish a schedule, know that there is a chance, there is possibility, things do get easier, I promise, but it's one of those things in those beginning stages. You really do just have to like go for it when you can. But while baby is still kind of sleeping and like has these cues of like, oh, it's nighttime, I'm going to bed, or, in the morning, in the early hours in the morning, oh, I'm still asleep. Your partner can go get their workout done in the early morning. Because let me tell you, you are so tired, you are going through sleep deprivation. To get up and be the one to go work out, quote unquote, at 5 a.m. is fucked up, because you're tired and your body is not going to be able to perform well anyway. So enjoy the time that you have to like, quote unquote, I call it sleeping in, like not really, but tend to the baby, do your thing, have your partner go work out, do their thing in the morning, to where when that time does come for you and you can like give your partner the baby, and be like, hey, be a parent, be the great dad, I'm going to go. Your partner's ready for that. And then you're both not looking at each other like, well, like, but I was going to go. And then you're but I was going to go. And then all of a sudden you're pissed because you're like, dude, I'm with this baby all fucking day. You can't just let me go work out. All of a sudden then there's the resentment, there's the frustration, and it's common and it's normal. And I promise it gets better, but it's really hard and it can be super emotionally charged in those first few months of parenting, especially even just, I would say, the first year of parenting as new parents. So hang in there, do what you can. Ask for help when you need it. If you have a village around you, a sister, a sibling of any sort, a mom, a dad, a in-law, whatever it might be, don't be afraid to ask for help. I know it can be hard with your first, but I wish I would have accepted more help when I had it. And again, you don't know till you know. So you'll learn, you'll do great, you'll do awesome, but just know and prepare yourself for losing a little bit of that autonomy and having to say goodbye to that chapter of your life for a while, but also know that you're entering into a really great new chapter, and you just have to embrace it and know that it's new for a reason. And to go into anything new, you got to learn it. So give yourself some grace with that. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Again, kind of a short and sweet episode, not too much, but at this point, sometimes my episodes are really just to like, come on, be your guys' friend, be your guys' bestie, chat a little bit, get down, have 54 minutes to myself of just fucking sitting here, and just relax, So thank you guys for allowing me time away from my daughter and my kids, my sons, and have a good little hour, good little vent sesh with me. So again, your homework for the week, go watch Presume Innocent, go steal someone's login, use the trial, do something, go watch it. And then next week, we're fucking talking about it. All right, that's all I got to say. I'll talk to you guys later. TTYL. Love ya. Call me back later. Whatever makes this feel like a friendship phone call. And bye.